Hello, you're welcome to the next MP. My name is Kafui Dey. A question for you. Why would a business strategist with decades of experience in banking, finance, and media want to go head to head with a parliamentary candidate from the ruling party in what is considered a safe seat? The answer to that question will come from the lips of my guest tonight, Ebu Jebi, independent candidate for the good people of Nshayesu in the Ashanti region. You're welcome to the next MP.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before you even answer that question, I just want us to take a few steps back and look at the registration exercise that concluded not too long ago.
Right.
And it's always curious to me, how does an independent candidate who does not have the machinery of a party go about mobilizing people to put their names on the register? How did you do it?
Well, it was pretty simple. In my constituency, I'm more of a hands-on person, grassroots person. I deal with almost everybody from, I guess because of my experience in what I've done over the years, dealing with people from all levels of life comes almost second nature to me. So I really had to go about talking to the younger folk. There's a bit of despondency on the younger generation when it comes to elections and what really they derive from it.
They don't want to register? They don't want to vote?
They don't want to vote. And to be very factual, most of them just did it so they could have a national identification. It's very, very disheartening. So in my rounds and talking to people and asking, have you registered to vote? What for? I kept getting, what for? What for? And I said, look, in this political process, if you don't get involved, you're always going to be at the bottom end. So go out there, cast your vote, however you want it, based on your beliefs and not based on some partisan doctrine. So that was almost the motivation to really say, no, we can't just sit aloof where we have a duopoly of two parties, just talking the narrative for our political process and really making a lot of people more disengaged and not interested.
This despondency you talk about, was it just restricted to the young people?
No, it's across board. But it's very, very frightening when there's a huge population of young people that do not want to get involved. And I feel responsible, and I think everybody has to feel very responsible that we get involved and bring everybody on board, because we cannot run a nation where only few tell us what to do, when we are the majority put them into power. So my involvement was really born out of that experience.
The what for question, the rhetorical question that they asked you, I mean, I'm sure when you pushed to ask them, hey, why don't you want to vote? What were they saying? What was the number one complaint?
They don't have the financial wherewithal to do it. And everybody thinks now that if you don't have money, you cannot be part of the political process. So even when I tell people that I'm going independent, they say you must have come across some huge monies that you don't know what to do with. And I tell them, no, the political process has to involve all of us. And I gave them the typical example of Barack Obama. When he decided to run for president, nobody thought he could do it, right? But he started a fundraising where even students were the ones that raised the biggest amounts for him. So when you want to get everybody involved, you tell them what it is that you want to do for them, why is it that you want to do it, and how you can all get together and go to that promised land.
Okay, so you managed to rally people to go out there and exercise their right to get their name on the register, and all that is done now.
Yes.
Now, I'm thinking about your campaign. We'll talk about the funding and other issues, but what is the message that you are putting out to the people of Nshayesu in the Ashanti region?
in one word, inclusiveness. And my mantra is all voices heard for development. So we need everybody. My goal is to make Inshaeso a model constituency that reflects exactly the rationale or the ideal that the political process stands for, so that it doesn't become such an insulting, almost demeaning posture that Inshaeso is an MPP stronghold. So even if you put up a stick man, the electorate will vote for them. It's almost very it's insulting. You know, when we have to allow this duopoly to say if you go to the Volta region and you put up a stick man, they'll vote NDC. And if you come to Ashanti region, you put up a stick man, they vote MPP. That wasn't the whole idea over this political process.
But wasn't it tempting for you to go by the easy route? Because the easy route is to join a party that has a good chance of winning. I mean, just even looking at the track record from 2004, Inshaeso has had only 2 MPs.
Right.
Dr. Anani for 3 terms,
yes,
and Mr. Kennedy Kankam for this current term.
Right.
He's been replaced by a new man.
Right.
But, I mean, and that's the way. You join the vehicle, get on board, and then do it. Like Barack Obama became a Democrat,
right,
used the system, got in there, and then achieved his agenda. Wasn't that the temptation for you?
Barack has always been a Democrat, and it's well known, and it's noted.
What have you always been?
Okay, I have voted on policy. Okay, I vote on conscience. That's exactly how I do my politics. I do not vote because, a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, is a chief in Himai, Nana Sawansa Abibiu. He made a comment that made a lot of people very, very angry. He said, Ghanaians vote MPP because their fathers voted MPP. They vote NDC because their mothers vote NDC. Why is it that you just toe a line?
Because it's human nature.
No, so you go to a church. If you see everybody jumping off a bridge, would you jump?
No, but that's a completely radical example.
It's an analogy.
Yeah.
Because we only vote because it's this party's stronghold. How has that helped the constituency? How has it improved or changed the lives of the people?
Let me ask you a personal question.
Yes.
Based on conscience, who did you vote for last year?
I voted for Nana Addo.
Okay.
Yes.
What was your conscience telling you back then?
I agreed with the whole concept of free education, free SHS education. And I believed that at the time we were at the crossroads, and I based my decision based on how the promise of change, was beckoning. And I felt strongly that security was going to improve. Lawlessness was going to improve. And that's why I voted for Nana Addo.
And then 2012, based on your conscience, who did you vote for?
2012, I voted for Mr.
Mahama?
Mr. Mahama.
Okay. What was the reason? I'm trying to enter your mind.
Mr. Mahama happens to be almost a family member. Okay. So
in what way?
Okay, so my cousin is married to one of his sisters.
Okay.
So we have that closeness.
So you voted for somebody you like?
I believe that, the campaign at the time was talking about youthful exuberance, right? Bringing some fresh air. And that's what we've been craving for. Okay, and I felt like, maybe we bring in someone younger, things might sway. Because, look, you look across the globe. My Kumasiness is coming out.
It's all right. No worries. I lived there for a while.
And you see, look, the average age for world leaders in the West versus the average age in Africa. And look at how they advance and, you see improvement, development. And we tend to be, lagging behind. So I just felt, maybe we give them a chance, so that more younger people may be enticed to join the political process.
Okay. And so that brings you to 2020.
Yes.
Obviously, you are not going to cast your ballots for I don't know, because you're going to definitely vote for yourself as MP.
Absolutely.
But I'm just curious, with President, what happens? Because I know we have 6 independent presidential candidates who want to become president, and then you have the established people as well.
Yes.
So what are the permutations for you this time?
Well, this is how this is how it goes. Let me ask a question. You're asking me now. All of a sudden, I'm asking you a question. Why is it that the MPP allowed Nana Addo to go unopposed another term, but that same offer didn't happen to his MPs? Why?
Well, some of them were protected. Some MPs were protected.
Okay, so
yes.
why the selectivity?
I don't know. I'm not in the belly of the beast.
Exactly. So we're allowing partisan politics to dictate how we do politics. And this is why I feel so responsible that, look, we don't want to wait for an implosion. And if you're a political student and you've actually seen or studied how things are going in Ghana, you would be alarmed that very soon there will be an implosion. Look, all the parties are having their own issues. The 2 major parties, I mean. You just mentioned that within the MPP, some seats were just secured for the incumbents, and others were just let, through under the bus. Why is that happening? Why even within the same club?
Because
they cannot have the same.
world is, look at your fingers.
No,
you're not equal.
No,
it's not a fair world.
But no, so that's why you join a club.
All right.
That's why you join the political party. You believe in their virtues. You believe in their principles and all of that. So you cannot have, someone gets to get a break and someone doesn't. And it happens the same way on the other side. So we need a shift. We need a paradigm shift in how we do or how we conduct ourselves as political beings.
Okay, great. I get that. So with the presidential, what happens? Are you in touch with all the independents, or you're going to go for one of the
Oh, incidentally, I didn't meet them. I saw 5 of them in action last night at an Imani.
There was a debate. Imani Multimedia had an interaction.
Yes.
Yeah. Who excites you?
Based on last night, I didn't get excited last night. If last night was anything to go by, the 2 political parties that we have now, none of these guys can beat them, based on what I witnessed last night. And I mean, I left very, very disappointed in all the setup and how everything went. I didn't get any vibe.
Let me I was monitoring. So Marek Kofi Ghana says, listen, Ghana needs only 50 ministers. Do you agree with him? He says you don't need more than 50 ministers.
I think we can do less. Okay. I believe we can do less.
Kofi Cranton says 10. You can run the whole country with 10 ministers.
I believe, look, he's coming from a very established, democracy, and they've been able to do it. Okay? And I believe he made a comment that more doesn't mean
better. Okay.
You can have less competent people, have agencies underneath these ministries, and have them, be more effective. We have a minister for monitoring and evaluation. He's supposed to be the policeman of all the ministries. What has come out of that?
I'm sure he would say he's monitoring and evaluating.
And how do we see the results?
Let me speak to one of the candidates. Samuel Oforiampofo says he would punish corrupt individuals to save the energy sector. That
should be a blanket statement.
It should be. It's nothing new. It's not earth-shattering,
It's nothing
right?
new. We just need to enforce the law. If the law is enforced, we don't need to, do silos, and it's the law. And if we're serious about really implementing or enforcing the law, we shouldn't be doing nitpicking, or we go here and we do it. That's why we have the situation now. We have a winner wins all system right here because of these 2 parties and all the powers that we've invested in one president. The executive is, given too many powers.
So for you would want to probably have a look at the Constitution again?
And that's why I'm running for Parliament. If anything has to change, it starts from Parliament. Okay? And my goal is to give the citizens of Nshaiso a taste of how parliamentary processes are supposed to be done. If we were any serious, we would have MPs in the governing administration voting against some stuff that comes. We don't have that.
Because they whip you all into line.
They whip you all into line.
Okay.
And it goes the same way. The opposition is always against the party in power is always in favor
So
of.
you have that tension all the time.
We need to diffuse that.
Okay.
And I'm hoping to be able to get there and do what is supposed to be done to really empower some of these younger MPs that they can make a change.
Okay, we'll get to your journey to Parliament House, hopefully, December 7, 2020, if you win.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. But let's get back to the disappointment you had in watching the debate yesterday. After watching them, were you thinking, maybe I shouldn't have gone for Parliament. I should have actually gone for independent presidential candidates. Did that cross your mind?
Of course it did. Of course it did. But, you know, there's an account saying that you need to crawl before you can walk. Okay? And you really need to understand what goes on in the legislature. You definitely need to do that so that when the opportunity comes. You know, it's interesting. I was sitting in front of a panel, an interview panel at TV Africa. And one of the questions was, are you aspiring or you think in the future you get into politics? And emphatically I said no, because I wasn't enthused about how things were going. And I said, I don't feel, I need to get into that. I'm always trying to educate people. So my whole idea was getting on TV and telling the story like it is. Something like how we vote, and it doesn't have to be all partisan, because the regulations allow every citizen to be able to put themselves up to be voted on. You just have to have a good message, get out there, convince the people, rally people around you, and come out and make the change.
Okay, so get out there, rally the people, come out and make the change. But politics is not devoid of money. It must cost you some amount of money to make all this happen. How are you raising funds, and how much have you spent so far?
I would say ballpark about 10,000 Ghana cedis.
Because that's an incredibly small amount.
It is small, and it doesn't have to be big money. It doesn't have to be big money. What do you need to campaign?
You tell me. You are there.
And that's what we do here is illegal. Vote buying is illegal, right? You need monies to put your posters up, right? You need monies to print T-shirts, a few flyers to go around telling people door to door what it is that you want to do and do for them.
10,000 cedis is like $2,000.
That's what I've spent so far.
What have you spent that money on?
Posters, T-shirts, banners, of course, refreshments for people that you meet up, flying up and down Kumasi, soliciting funds from people that I believe they believe in my cause.
That 10,000 is already spent in my head.
Of course.
It's more than 10,000.
And you have promissories, you know that.
Okay, so people are also putting money into your campaign.
Yes.
How much have they put into your campaign?
I'm
assuming the 10K is your own cash.
I need to consult my team. I have, because how we have things set up, it's difficult to just go and say, you open up an account, you need to registrations and all that. Time is not on our side. So I have everything going through my account, and I have a lawyer and another colleague monitoring all of that. So I will have to consult with them. That's how we do it, very transparent. Because Ghanaians, before you know, he's only out there to make some monies and vanish. No.
Do you get that kind of feedback or some concerns?
Oh, people would say, he only wants to get in there, so one of the political parties will just buy him off, blah, blah, blah. Very insulting comments. But once you have a clear idea where you want to go, these distractions don't count.
So what's the team like? What's the structure? How many people are on your campaign team?
I have 2 lawyers now, a communications expert, and a strategist for now. And then we have over 100 youth. We operate on the platform of WhatsApp. The idea, we're still strategizing, is for them to get more people on board, and we'll navigate from there or migrate from there to Telegram.
You don't have time,
We don't have time. They're working as we sit here now. I told you my phone was ringing off hook. I made a small video, and a press release came out, and all of a sudden, the message is what's important, Kafui. The message is resonating with the young. Believe me, the message, and it's the young that will influence the older. Look, there's a bracket between the young and the older.
Not the older influencing the young.
The young down who have no hope. Okay, they listen to, when they get your buy-in, they go home, they tell their grandmothers, and you should listen to comments that they tell them, he's a man of integrity, he's honest, and the grandmothers, I want to talk to him. And we haven't even started a full-fledged campaign yet.
We haven't even started the full campaign yet. Those are his words. Ebo Jebi is independent candidate for the good people of Inshaesu in the Ashanti region, this beautiful country of Ghana. When we return, I'll find out from him how he intends to beat his major competitor in this electoral race. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the next MP.
As the national regulator of the communications industry in Ghana, the National Communications Authority seeks to ensure an environment that is safe and fair for consumers and service providers. NCA grants licenses and authorizations for operation of communication systems and services, develops guidelines to streamline communication activities, establish and monitor quality of service indicators for operators and service providers. NCA is in 8 regions: Accra, Tamale, Takrady, Kumasi, Ho, Koforidua, Sunyani, and Bolgatanga. Do you have unresolved complaints with your service providers? Contact us on 0800110662, 0307011419 between the hours of 8 o'clock a.m. and 5 o'clock p.m. from Monday to Friday, or visit our website at www.nca.org.gh and follow the procedure for filing a complaint or submitting enquiry. National Communications Authority. Communications for development.
Welcome back. You're watching The Next MP. My guest is business strategist Ebo Jebi. He is independent candidate for the good people of Inshaesu in the Ashanti region. And his symbol, by the way, is Nyansapo, which is a wisdom knot. Why?
And by the way, when the, how do I want to say, appellation to Nyansapo is Yesaneno Bajunemba.
Okay. Break it down for those of us who don't
Okay,
speak.
so it's the wisdom of knot. But to untie it or to entangle it, you need a smart and a wise person to do so.
Is that you?
Absolutely.
You're praising yourself?
No one else is going to blow my trumpet.
Until you do it yourself. So what's the wisdom in going up against the gentleman who is representing what for him probably is a safe seat? I mean, the history of the Inshaesu seat since 2004 is that there have been only 2 members of parliament since 2004. So 16 years, only 2 people. One of them was there for 12 years. And the current MP is a lame duck. He's been knocked out, by Stephen Amwa, who is the boss of the Microfinance and Small Loans Center, Maslock.
Yes.
What's the wisdom in going up against this man? This is definitely a David v. Goliath situation.
Well, this is how I look at it. And let me go on Nyansapo before we proceed. The EPO, which is the knot, is the knot that the MPP and the NDC have tied for us. And to untie it, you need someone like me to do it. The wisdom behind it, I'm not going for Mr. Amwa or Atokwame Napra.
The evangelist.
Yes.
All right.
I'm running my race. The race is mine. The whole idea is to break this, the whole thing that we say it's MPP stronghold and NDC stronghold. For how long are we going to go on like that? So I pick Inshaesu because I attended Inshaesu International School. From there to the school. Go ahead.
Which school?
This school.
Is it the Opogwari? That's your school.
That's it. Why didn't you say any other school but the school? You know?
My producer is good.
All in the same constituency. I lived there. I've spent almost my entire time in Kumasi, in Inshaesu, Adiabeba, South Centreso, Santase, Fanchinebra. So when people ask why Inshaesu that's so strongly MPP, I'm a son of Inshaesu. I'm a son of Ghana. I have every right to stand up and fight to bring Inshaesu up to become a model constituency of Ghana. So the race is mine.
I don't begrudge you that, but the figures too are there for us to see. In 2004, the winning candidate had 77.9% of the vote. 2008, 77.7, so a little dip. 2012, 76.2, so it was coming down. But in 2016, 82%, 82.19%. Those are the figures for Inshaesu, for the winning candidate, which is a new patriotic party candidate. Right. The independent in the last election had 0.23% of the vote. That's 132 votes compared to the winner who had over 9,600 votes.
Right.
That 132, is that not you?
Absolutely not. So when you look at the trend and you look at the percentage that Kankam had, why has it been booted out? Dr. Anania was there all the time and the fortunes were dipping because people were getting fed up with it. But because it's still an MPP and if you put a stick there, they will vote. They did. So we asked the question, why were the numbers dipping? And then Kennedy comes in, his numbers climb. Why is he booted out?
Because he was not protected. He had the Maslock boss go up against him. He didn't have the fortune of being protected by the system.
See, this is where we expose this whole duopoly that we're talking about. So the party comes into power. We put these people into, high-fledging positions. In any event, if you wanted to, serve your nation, if you're truly a patriot that wants to serve your nation, you've been handed such a juicy position that covers the entire nation. Why is it that you want to drop that and come and run for Inshaesu constituency?
In fact, he didn't even drop it because according to a letter from the head of the Public Services Commission dated August 8, 2019, any public officer who desirous of running for political office would have to resign.
Yes.
Mr. Amwa did not resign. He's still there and he's won the seat. In fact, he and his deputy actually went for different seats. Deputy lost in Yendi, but he won for Inshaesu and he's in. Yes, the system is being gamed, some would say.
Yes.
But the fact is that he's there and you have to deal with the reality.
Yes, he's actually my junior in Opokware. We've met a couple of times since I declared my intention to run and he's feeling the heat.
Seriously?
Yes.
In what way?
I'm a very strong force to reckon with. And it's just unfortunate that when I talk to people like, oh, finally, because I got very dejected at some point and I said, I wasn't going to do it. But if you really look into the glass, into the future, and you see a possible implosion, and you just sit idle, you sit aloof and watch it coming, are you being a true patriot?
Are you over exaggerating? I mean, implosion? What implosion?
Kafui, you are a media specialist. You analyze things. Do you really see the way we're going with these two parties is the right direction for the nation?
Some would say work within the system, join either of them, and
that is not the system. The system doesn't require a duopoly. The system has to be tested. It doesn't require a duopoly. If EC opened the gates for us to register, the same way Mr. Amwa and Mr. Proud would have to register is how I would register. It doesn't mention that you have to belong to a political party.
I get you on that, and you've been very public on that particular point. But are you not fighting a different kind of battle? The battle basically is the winner takes all system, where the moment you win, opposition is completely cut out, as opposed to other systems where you can have an opposition candidate, say, become mayor or run certain parts of the political machinery. Is that not the fight, really, the winner takes all thing?
Now, the interesting aspect of it is we have copied two systems of government, right? We have an executive, we have a parliamentary system, we have an executive system. In this situation, it's the executive that's supposed to do the winner takes all. The parliament is supposed to be the lawmaking body, right?
Yes.
So, exactly.
Yeah.
So why is it that the executive gets to pluck people from parliament to get in here to run it?
And that's the problem.
And that's what we need to start talking about. We seriously, look, we've talked about the constitutional review, Professor Mills of blessed memory. We went across the nation, we got views, and whatever happened to that? Why do you talked about the Mr. Amwa having to have resigned if he intended to. Why do we play the game? We really need to let people understand, and it's education. We have to let the people understand that, look, what's happening is not how it's supposed to be. We do not always have to say, oh, this party is in government, they control every single penny in this country. They decide how we go and how we come. And the majority sits back. And we are played like pawns. And it's very, very disheartening. Look at you, a very accomplished individual. But because you're not in that mix, if you don't push, you don't even get recognized. And this is where we have a problem. Last night I heard one of the independent aspirants, presidential aspirants, talk about meritocracy. That's how it's supposed to be. But we have become so polarized along partisan lines. And this is what I try to explain to people. It's not political lines, it's party lines. And this is what's pulling us back. And we really need to start talking about this, letting the electorate understand that power belongs to us and not to political parties.
So the current lame duck MP, Mr.
Right.
Kennedy Kankam, has joined forces with other aspirants who in the MPP who didn't make it
Right.
in the primaries to push for, to support the agenda of the president coming back. So
Right.
I know Mr. Kankam and Obuo, the musician,
Right.
former musical president, have a group called Aspire to Unite for Victory. So the person who Anwar kicked out is actually working to maintain what you don't want to be the system for Inshaiso and for the rest of Ghana. Just looking at Inshaiso alone, how do you counter all these forces? Because you're fighting the battle on many fronts.
Isn't that interesting? It wasn't like he decided not to rerun. He ran and lost. Okay? So what is it in there more for him? He still wants to be recognized in the party, relevant in the party. So in the event of Nana Addo winning or re-winning, he gets a position. And this is the partisan stuff that we are talking about. You run against me, and I'm all of a sudden, because of we joined the same club. So why did I have to run against you? If the president is doing so wonderfully well that nobody had to oppose him, why didn't that rub off his MPs? How about we just allow all the MPP MPs to go for a second term because the executive is doing so well? So the members of the same party should enjoy the same benefits. Why didn't that happen? Because the laws allow anybody else to contest, right? So this is why I'm contesting. Even though I'm not going on a party ticket, I believe that I have what it takes to start the change, the real change that we need in this country.
And should you get to Parliament House, what would be your focus? What would be the thing that you would want to lay down a marker on and work to achieve as MP of Inshaiso?
I'm coming to the Parliament with concerns, grievances from people from Inshaiso. We talked about Dr. Nana's strengths and how Kankam came and all of a sudden he was kicked out. Why is that? Look, we have a nation, like I said, we have the executive or presidential system and we have parliamentary system. The UK is where we copy the parliamentary from, right? When you go to every constituency in the UK, they have a constituency office. Do we have such a thing in Ghana?
That's a big beef for you. I mean, I've seen your thoughts on that.
So
you want there to be a constituency office irrespective of who the MP is.
That's correct. That's how parliamentary systems are played. Okay? Now, people are reluctant or unable to do so because they belong to a club. So we have won. It's a 100-meter dash. We beat you. We have the spoils. Why should we share?
I'm just curious, though, for Inshaiso, so where's the office? How does the MP operate? If you want to see your MP, how would you see him?
You have to go to who's in power's party office. That's where they work from.
Okay.
We don't have such a thing. We need to let people understand that once the elections is over, okay, it's Inshaiso, it's Ghana. But if you realize after the election is over, on the 8th, we start politicking again, electioneering.
So you're thinking the state should provide these offices for all the 275
Well,
constituencies?
if our MPs are very, very serious about really parliamentary businesses, you have the MP Get Fund. These are some of the things that you do.
Create an office for
You
it.
create an office for it. You create a database of physical and personal property personal information in there. You match your skills, a database of skills, versus businesses or potential businesses in that community where you can match them. This is how we have to start looking at how we run this thing. And by so doing, when you stand on the floor of Parliament, they look at you different. And this is how the change is going to, start building up.
I was doing because I've lived in Inshaesu before, and I live in Accra, and I was just equating what Inshaesu would be compared to a constituency here in Ghana. It's probably like similar to La Dade Kotopon because of the establishments that are in Inshaesu. So you have lots of hotels and guest houses, banks. Alliance Française is there. Yes. You've got your telco, Airtel Tigo. On the face of it, it looks like a really well-developed constituency.
Right.
In terms of physical infrastructure.
Right.
But there must be some issues that you are dying to solve.
Yes.
What would be the top 2 or 3 issues that affect the people of Inshaesu?
Very well. Like you said, Inshaesu is almost like, in Kumasi they say it's the elite constituency.
Yes.
It's almost like Ghana's second capital, where the regional office is there, RESEC is there, the mayor of Kumasi's residence is there, Otunfo lives there, Mampontain lives there, Nana Addo, almost everybody lives in Inshaesu because of, just like you explained it. But then you have pockets, almost not pockets, but you have areas like Dakwajum. Okay, you go to some, around the Santasi roundabout there's a community there that don't even have pipe-borne water. So there's this disparity. But if we can get everybody to come on board, and look, it's been an issue across the globe. When there's income inequality, it creates a lot of rife. And we really need to address all of these things. And it's not an MP's job to do it, but you need to bring all the players on board. And by telling the story, if you're in Parliament and you elaborate all of these things, every parliamentarian, I believe, would have some of these issues in their constituencies. But because we play too much partisan politics on the floor, we don't get to talk about security, health, sanitation. Yesterday sanitation came out. How is it that you have a minister of sanitation and we're still living in filth?
She graded herself 85%.
See, that's partisan politics. Let's be honest. I was waiting for one of the independent aspirants to talk about really enforcing the law. Really enforcing the law. And basically doing preventive medicine. Because if I have nothing to lose, I don't even care about my well-being. I don't. Because what do I have to lose? So each one for himself. So when it's election time and a parliamentarian comes over and they give you 20 cities, he's thinking about 20 cities. He doesn't think about the long term. They vote because even if he goes there, I'm not going to see him again. So it's giving you 20 cities, giving somebody else 20 cities. You're adding it up and like, oh, he's paid enough money. So let's just go. In our recent primaries in Inshaesu, they must have spent over 5 million Ghana cedis on the minimum and to a few delegates. Because, and it's so disheartening that it's our cocoa season. Are we building a nation or are we just playing chess? So I'll wait for the time for him to come back for elections and I'll take my due.
These are good questions you're asking, but on the ground, for those who are used to collecting the 20 CDs, 50 CDs, 5 CDs from the political aspirants, how do you answer somebody who says, Kasankwa, is it just talk? What's your response to somebody like that?
People buy from people they like, right? And when people really connect with you, they get to believe that there's something beyond what they just see. Okay, so telling them what's doable, and everything we're talking about is doable. It's unfortunate that we're talking about Mr. Kankam here. But why did he get booted out? Because he wasn't listening to the people. And everybody knows. He all of a sudden didn't become the people's person anymore. And it was out of fatigue for Dr. Anane, they voted him in. And it's all because it's an Inshaesu MPP stronghold. No, We don't do politics like that. So in Chi, we'll say, what's your answer? Now the ball is in your court.
Break down that problem for me. What's your, are you taking water?
Yeah, you carried water and you carried booze.
Okay.
The same colorless, right?
It's all liquid, yeah.
Exactly. So now you decide which one to.
There's no water here, there's no alcohol here, but there's a lot of good conversation. My guest is Ebo Jebi. Well, there's no alcohol, there's no water here, but lots of great conversation. And when we return, I shall be asking Ebo Jebi, my guest, a couple of questions based on the experiences he's had in the business world and how they fit into his campaign to become the MP for the good people of Ishaya. So you're watching The Next MP. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, my name is Jermaine Nkrumah. For decades, leaders in Ghana have been complaining about brain drain, referring to the mass exodus of Ghanaians into foreign lands. The good news is lately, that brain drain has actually evolved into what many refer to as brain gain. In other words, Ghanaians left and have acquired new skills, and they are now available to come home to help with national development. In fact, here at DNT, we insist that there is nothing that Ghana needs done towards her development that she cannot find a Ghanaian to do, be they at home or from somewhere in the world. The question is there a role for Ghanaians abroad to play in Ghana's development? If the answer is yes, then we have to ask ourselves, what are the measures that have been put in place to facilitate their return home to help with nation building? Join me on Diaspora Weekly every Saturday at 9 o'clock in the morning as I engage Ghanaians, be they at home or abroad, as we analyze the topical issues and relevant issues pertaining to how diasporans abroad can come home and help with nation building. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and this is Diaspora Weekly.
You're still watching The Next MP. My name is Kafui Dey. My guest is Ebo Jebi, independent candidate for Ishaya in the Ashanti region. And Ebo, I know you are a business strategist and you work a lot with small and medium-sized enterprises. I saw this interesting report. Ghanaian Times, June 10, reported that 170,000 MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises, had made applications to get support from the President's Coronavirus Alleviation Program Business Support Scheme, CAP-BUS. What are your thoughts on that particular injection for a sector that you are very close to?
I believe it's in the right direction, but we always have to look at how these things come about. And like you rightly said, I go into entrepreneurial training and stuff like that. And I decided to, venture into that because even my own experience with almost medium, big, large-scale businesses in Ghana, we seem to be we have this blasé attitude of running businesses.
Explain.
Our mindset in running businesses. I always say that even our grandmothers and our mothers in the markets are more business savvy than we are.
How? Why?
Because they have more financial discipline. Okay, and when you come into the private, not just the private sector, when you actually come into operational management in Ghana, it's something else different.
Are you thinking this money is going to be frittered, wasted?
It's very likely because we play partisanship with that. I met a young man in Asafu Kumasi, and he's talking about during President Mahama's time, he was given 3 tricycles through Maslock. And I said, so did you pay for them? He said, why do I have to pay for them?
He answered with a question.
Yes. He was really, really animated, like, why do I have to pay for them? I campaigned for them and it came into power. The mayor gave me a slip and I went there and he gave me, I said, but do you know how Maslock works? It's like, I don't care.
He's got his tricycles.
I didn't go to school. I only went to Makalanta. So if I campaign for my party and they come into power and they give me 3 abubuya, why do I have to pay? So you expect most of these monies to be paid?
So you don't have confidence that the National Board for Small Scale Industries can run this thing well?
You know, it really hurts. But the system is, you know, I had a couple of contracts with them, and the process actually is that you need to bring your books for over at least a year. But do you know, majority of the people that called me to inquire didn't have books. They've been running businesses for years, and they don't have any data to prove that I even make $5,000 a year.
So there's going to be a big problem.
Majority of them may not even access it. You know, majority of them, because they wouldn't have, unless we play partisan shenanigans.
Which is your
So-
your pet peeve.
Oh, you know, unless we play partisan shenanigans, so somebody can walk with a slip and get a
An
package.
aboboya or whatever.
And this is I have his number. They are twins. His brother is MPP youth organizer. I'm not going to say the constituency.
Okay.
In the same constituency in Nkumaso, one of the very, I'll tell you when we're done. One is MPP, the other is NDC. And the NDC guy was the one that's telling me that if it wasn't for his brother, he probably would have gotten into trouble. So we're playing these games because of partisan politics.
Which you think should end.
And people that are really, really capable and able to do it are left behind because they do not have any affiliation or high up connections. Sorry.
You were, for a while, working with a company that sold cars.
Yes.
For quite GM fellow. You were the general manager there.
Yes.
And it's interesting that cars are now a big deal in Ghana because VW, we saw the stories about how the first VW vehicle has
Assembly
rolled off.
line,
Yes,
yes.
yeah, and then there's Nissan too, there are plans for Nissan. But there's also good old Kantanka.
Yes.
They have decided to now start doing smaller cars. Actually, they want to get that whole ride-sharing market. But are you satisfied with the support that Kantanka is getting from the authorities to grow an indigenous car assembly
You know, this really
industry?
cuts across board. And not to put Kantanka on the spot, everything you do has to be well researched and you know your market share to really get into the mix. We have been spoiled. Ghanaians have been spoiled. Even if you drive a Honda 4x4 or a Hyundai 4x4, somebody's looking at you and saying, why didn't you get a Mercedes or a Lexus or a Land Cruiser? So if you're coming into the market with a new, I was going to say fairly, it's almost non-existent, and you come in to face such a competition, you know, it's almost like dead on arrival. You know, when Tata decided to manufacture cars, they looked at their markets and realized that they had a lower base where they can produce these small 1-liter vehicles and everybody can access them. So they flood the market.
So they jumped there.
Once you flood the market, okay, then everybody that has one can actually graduate to the next one.
So how would you advise Kantanka as a business strategist?
I would have advised Kantanka to really go on the small scale and even do some of these Abosokai machos to flood the market.
Wasn't Abosokai macho, man? You're really on the ground. I'm not. What does it look like? Describe it for me.
It's almost like a mini pickup, but they're very small.
Okay.
They're very slow. They hold up the traffic and all of that. But they carry the cows, the tires, and
I see the
all of
vehicles.
that.
Okay.
So once you do that and you can spew or put a lot of them in the market, okay, you get that market recognition, and then you graduate from there to maybe a mid-sized vehicle. People build confidence in that, and you don't just go like boom like that. And you know how we behave. You need to understand the people's behaviors. Ghanaians would rather, let me ask you, if I said I was going to dish you a car, I have a Mercedes 4x4 and a Hyundai 4x4, which would be your choice?
I need to see the car. No, but I get where you're going from. It's human nature. And so, well, this is free business strategy advice for those who are watching. They should have started from a particular level, apart from what you were saying.
Once there's a lot of your products on the market,
then it's easier to
it's easier
go up.
to, yes.
Okay.
You get a huge market share, even on the ground level. Okay, then you graduate gradually. Yeah. You remember BMW, after they started plateauing, started doing the 1 Series.
Exactly.
Because they wanted to get the freshers to buy these vehicles, and once you experience that, you want to get a 3, you want to get a 5, and once you get a bit older, you get the 7.
Okay. I need to get this out from you. So, in terms of politics, I mean, the business strategy is everything is there. But in terms of politics, who is your hero? I mean, who do you look up to as we wrap up this conversation?
In active politics?
Yeah, I mean, who are your political heroes? Who is inspiring you to make this bid come true?
That's a tough one, because this Fourth Republic has been bedeviled with partisanship, and it's very difficult to really say this or that.
So maybe you have a historical hero?
Historical hero is always going to be the one and only Kwame Nkrumah.
Numero.
I mean,
uno.
I believe that maybe he was a few light years ahead of his compatriots, and maybe one of his flaws or mistakes that he did, that he assumed that where he was in his mind, his people back home were thinking the same way.
So he didn't carry the people along.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's one thing that I think he did not so well, because he didn't really understand the people. He knew he'd been in the struggle in the US, in the UK, and he could tell that, okay, this is how we have to do it. But you needed to really break it down to the people here that this is how we have to go.
So I'll jump on that. Are you understanding the people of Nshayasu?
Yes. Yes. Kafui, I mentioned Abu Boya. You don't know Abu Boya. You don't know Abu Soka.
No, I know Abu Boya.
You don't know Abu Soka.
I didn't know the champion. That was okay. Champion.
I'm a local hero. I'm so to the ground, and you heard my tree the other time, and it's people get amazed, like, how do you go so deep in tree and you do this? You know, I guess my career has, my work experience has afforded me the opportunity to deal with people in very, very high levels, and to people that, you know, maybe in professional life are not that high. I always tell people, you mentioned Philip. My confidant at Philip was my GM. I wasn't the GM. And you know what the GM is?
General manager.
The gate man.
Oh, I see. Another way to look at things. Your message to the people of Nshayasu as we wrap up right now.
My message is very simple. In Nshayasu, you can start the change that Ghana needs. I stand for inclusiveness. All voices will be heard for us to make that change, start that change. That constituency becomes the model one that every constituency in Ghana would want to emulate, so that we can all, as a people, take Ghana to a different level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ebo Jebe,
Thank
independent
you,
candidate for the people of Nshayasu in the Ashanti region, bringing us to the end of our show. You can follow him on Facebook if you're curious about his campaign. Look for Ebo Jebe, Gyebi. And you can follow him. Follow Diaspora Network Television and Kafui Dey across social media. It's been great, and God willing, we do it again next week. My name is Kafui Dey. God bless.